All right, good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. I just wanted to thank everybody for joining us for our Community Development Block Grant presentation for public services. We're going to go ahead and get started. I just wanted to do a quick introduction of who I am. My name is Leah Larson. I work at the City of Boise in Housing and Community Development, and I'm our Program Monitoring Specialist. We currently are filling the role of our HUD Administrator, so I'm participating for this just to make sure that we get this piece done. I ask that if you have any questions during the presentation, if you could please put them in the chat. If we can't get to all of the questions at the end, we'll try to get them answered and get them back out to you as soon as we can. And then I wanted to go ahead and introduce Nikki Drake. She is part of our Housing and Community Development team, and she is here co-hosting. She will help moderate that chat to help answer questions. And this presentation is being recorded, so I just want to let everybody know that. All right. All right, so we are here for our Public Services Grant Workshop for Community Development Block Grant. This is for our program year 2021. To just give a little bit of background about what this means, these are the funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Our local states and communities prepare a 5-year consolidated plan to receive these federal funds. This consolidated plan is designed to help us at our local jurisdiction levels to assess our affordable needs for housing and community development needs, our market conditions, and making data-driven place-based investment decisions. We are currently in our first annual action plan for the 2021-2025 consolidated plan. So we have a 5-year plan that we have to go through every 5 years. And this year we're going through that process. So this is carried out through our annual action plan, which provides a concise summary and actions and activities. This is where we're gonna talk about specific federal and non-federal resources that we have each year to address the priority needs and specific goals for the city of Boise. So this year we're anticipating a couple of different buckets of money. So we've got our CDBG, which is $931,000 that we're anticipating. Outside of those federal resources, public services, we're allowed 15% of that total entitlement that we receive. And so this year we're anticipating that we're gonna have $215,000 for public services in the community. So when we're talking about eligible activities, one of the things we need to think about for the scope of the projects, we're looking at things like services for homelessness, health services, childcare, education programs, just to name a few. The grant funds can be used for a wide range of public service activities. And so going through these, just keep in mind, there are more opportunities than what's listed here. I've put a link in the chat already to our compliance toolkit to kind of outline what is eligible and what's not eligible. So when we're talking about those activities also have to serve 80% or below area median income households, individuals, or based on clientele activity. So we've got a couple of different things. We have, if you're serving an area benefit activity, only 51% of those residents have to be that 80% AMI. And that's in a particular neighborhood where you're serving that whole neighborhood. On the individual level for group or persons, we've got LMI, which is limited mod income. We've got that as well. I need to put my glass on, sorry. So really just looking at who are you serving, how are you serving? These programs are, serving the population for the right reasons at the right price and at the right income level. Couple of requirements for these CDBG funds. The application has to go through Zoom Grants, and that deadline is due by April 30th. You have to be a 501c3 nonprofit. You must also be registered in sam.gov if you already currently registered in there. You must serve individuals earning that 0 to 80% area median income. When you're looking at 0 to 80% area median income, and that link I put in the chat, it also has what those income levels are to give you kind of a better understanding of those ranges of salaries. And then you must be serving individuals within the city of Boise limits, and that means our municipality boundaries, and then comply with all applicable local and federal regulations, and we'll go into a little bit of detail about that. So when we're looking at the compliance of these funds, there's 2 CFR 200, which can be super confusing, especially if you're a brand new nonprofit, if you've never received these funds before. And so we've kind of put together a guide for executive directors and board of directors that gives you just high level detail of what those mean. 2 CFR 200 is talking about your financial management, your internal controls, your policies and procedures, things like, do you have a conflict of interest policy? And so we've taken the regulatory burden and complexity of that regulation and kind of broken it down to give you an easy tool to take back to your agency. You must also comply with fair housing and ADA Section 504, lead-based paint if it applies, housing quality standards. It's called an HQS. So if you're giving rental assistance, we go in and do an inspection to make sure that the housing quality standards meet federal regulatory compliance. There's also Part 5 income that we've broken down to make it an easier tool for you to use to kind of get an overwhelming guide of how to do income calculations. We've got monthly reporting for beneficiary data. So that's things like race, ethnicity, head of household, is there a disability? We collect that data monthly. It's required for us to report back to HUD. And then monthly reimbursements is really if we're covering a salary for, say, case management at a domestic violence shelter, those reimbursements would come into the city monthly, and then we would reimburse those dollars back to you. There's also a biannual and annual narrative due, and this is really where you get to tell the story of how you leverage your resources, who you partnered with in the community. And this is our opportunity for us to report back to HUD on those narratives so that we match the data with the stories. So when you're looking at what you should apply for, make sure it's a reasonable amount of funding that you need for your program. Agencies are welcome to submit multiple applications. We just ask that you prioritize what those applications are and mark them, say 1, 2, or 3, 1 being that is the most priority that you have for your needs. And if you are awarded funds in 2020, please update the number of individuals that you've served. So what's next? We've got funding recommendations will be included in our draft program year 2021 annual action plan. We have a public review period, which will begin around June 15th, and that's typically open for 30 days. Once awarded contracts, you will be sent to the agencies around September 1st. Contract periods always start on October 1 and run through September 30th of the next year. And when we're talking about that data that we collect for monthly beneficiary data, it's only for unduplicated individuals for that program year. So you can only count that person once if you're serving them more than one time in between October 1 through September 30th. And then, do we have any questions?
Leah, I just want to mention the link that you've been referencing it's not showing up in the chat, just as a heads up.
Oh, let me plop it back in there.
Thanks. And so far, we don't have any questions in the chat, but if folks have one, please unmute.
I have a question. I'm pretty new to grant writing and to the company I'm serving with right now, and I was just curious how often full grant amounts get funded.
We have historically never been able to fully award except for this last year due to COVID. And so the dollars are typically stretched pretty thin. We have a citizens advisory committee that reviews those applications. Last year was the first year that I've been here that we've ever awarded a full grant.
Okay, and how much would you say your average amount awarded is?
It really depends year to year what the program is and based on our priority needs for the city.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And Anna, were you just asking that question?
Yes, that was me.
And I just wanted to let you know that our priority needs are posted on our website, and we can plop a link to that as well in the chat for you.
Okay, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is James with the International Rescue Committee. I'm also new to this these community development block grants. And you have two different grants. There's the public service grants and the community development block grant, the home grant applications.
Yes.
One of our greatest needs is emergency rental assistance. We're a refugee resettlement agency. And one of our greatest needs is emergency rental assistance, helping to supplement rent for our clients. Is that, in reading both of these, what I can gather from both, it seems like that might be eligible under both grants. Is that right? Or could you direct me to one or the other that might be a better fit for that? Or is that just not something that's applicable for either grant?
Yeah. Yeah, so you'd want to apply for that for this grant. The other grant, CDBG and Home, is typically for acquisition, rehab, construction of affordable housing and things of that nature, infrastructure, public works improvement, energy efficiency. And so if you're looking for emergency rental assistance, there's this grant that's open. And then we also have another one with our continuum of care. So that one, I think, gets posted at the end of the year.
There's another one at the end of the year. So end of the fiscal year?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, great. And this sounds like it's fairly compliance heavy. Is that right? You know, with inspections are required for rental assistance, monthly reporting. So I guess we should add in staff time to address the compliance, right? How would you advise for that?
You can do that as well.
Yeah. Okay.
It depends. You want to look at your program and who is running your program and how much time you'd be spending, and then try to put that in as an allocation.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
And we have sample budgets from other agencies. If it would be helpful, we can share that as well.
Who would I contact to get one of those?
If you want, I will put my email in here right now. And if you email me, I can get that over to you. So one of the things that we've done over the last year is we've made our contracts with our public services more transparent and sharing information not only with other agencies, but also across the entire Treasure Valley. And that's kind of helped us create better partnerships so that everybody is kind of set up for success when you're taking on these funds for the first time.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Did we have any other questions or anything else anybody would like a deeper dive into?
Hi there. My name is Carrie Magnuson. I'm with the YMCA here. Hi, James. James and I have worked together on some refugee swimming lessons before. So this would be a new application for our organization. And particularly, we're really looking at the call and need for childcare in the city of Boise right now, as we're going into next school year and some, question marks as to how that's going to go. Would scholarship funds for families to attend childcare in that LMI category be an eligible?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep. Yeah, and if you want, we currently have a grant that we gave to Boys and Girls Club for scholarships as well. And so they could be a good partner agency if you're applying for these funds for the first time to kind of see how they have their system set up.
Great, thank you. Yeah, they've been a wonderful partner, so thank you. I'll definitely follow up.
Thanks, Carrie. And it looks like we've got Nikki dropped in the information for what our priority needs are. So thank you, Nikki. If everyone wants to take a look at that. Did we have any other questions or anybody have anything else you want me to dive into? Okay. Well, if there is anything else that anybody can think of, you can always reach out to us. We're happy to answer any questions, happy to share information to make sure if you are applying for these funds that you're set up for success, and looking at those different documents that we have in the compliance toolkit. Hopefully that will help you. And thank you everybody for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you.